Welcome, this is Laura with the Fitness Skinny. I am going to take 30 minutes and stretch it out. Join me in this 30-minute flow dedicated to just stretching. Start on your hands and knees, flow through cat-cow. Inhale, look up, dropping your center, tilting your tail, melting your shoulders, lifting your chest. Exhale, round like angry cat, tilting your tail down, scooping those abs and trying to reach your middle spine up to the sky. Flow through a few of them with your breath. Try to articulate through every spot in your back. Make sure you have even weight in your knees and your hands supporting you. And try to keep melting those shoulders away from your ears every time you look up, lifting your chest. Thread the needle on that left side. You're gonna lift your left arm, look towards your left shoulder, open up your chest on that left side. Thread your left arm underneath your right on your exhale, coming down onto your left side, your cheek, your shoulder, holding that twisted stretch. This is great for upper back mobility, stretching out your upper thoracic spine. Make sure you're adding a breath with each movement and try to really reach that left arm, sneaking those fingers as far as they'll go, holding that stretch, sitting your hips back as far as they'll go, and then try a few on that right side. You're going to inhale that right arm up, exhale, sneak it through, breathing, holding. Try to open up that right shoulder, getting a stretch to your chest on that right side. Turn your glance towards your fingertips. Melt your seat back. How much range of motion can you get in both directions? And on that fifth one, come back to all fours. Pick up your left knee. Circle big hip circles on that left side. 5 in one direction, 5 the other way. This is designed to work mobility in your hips. Can you keep everything still through your spine? You're still circling, but not relaxing your core. Your core is stabilizing. Do 5 in each direction on your right side. How big can you make the circles without letting anything in your spine change? Think of it as stirring your femur bone around. Sit back towards your heels, find child pose stretch, melting your hips. Flow through extending your spine as you drop your hips and look up, lifting your chest, melting your shoulders, and then rounding and sitting back into child pose. You're inhaling forward, looking up, dropping your shoulders away from your ears, exhaling back, trying to sit your seat towards your heels. Flow through 3 more. Move with your center. You're drawing your core in right before you switch from forward to back. Make sure you're adding a breath with each movement. So you're finding consistency in your breath. Back to all fours. Reach opposite arm, opposite leg away from your midline. You're gonna do a thread the needle on just that right side, come back to center and switch. You're gonna reach your left arm right leg away, thread that left arm through. Notice how much core stability you need to stay balanced on this one, since you're rotating without any support, or opposite support, I should say, with just one hand and knee touching the ground. Find as much length when you return to a straight arm, straight leg, through your fingertips, through your toes. Can you try to keep your hips still? You're rotating, but trying to twist just from your midline, not dropping that opposite hip bone. So your hip bones are staying level to the ground. Activate your center and then rotate so your core is holding everything stable through your hips. Again, make sure you're adding a breath with every movement. Extend your left leg out to the side, an extension of your hip, drawing a line from your hip. Can you flatten your foot against the ground? You're gonna rock back, sitting back towards that right heel. Rock forward, finding a stretch through that left inner thigh, as much range of motion as you can. And then you're gonna reach that left arm up and thread, noticing that range of motion will probably be more limited on this one. When you hold that left arm underneath, right arm underneath, can you sit your glutes back a little? Come on up, switch sides. That right foot and leg are gonna extend out to the side. Plant your foot, inhale back, exhale forward. Flow through 3 more of these, trying to find range of motion and a stretch in that right inner thigh. And then you're gonna reach that left arm up, looking towards your left fingertips, opening up your chest. And then thread that left arm underneath, sitting your glutes back as far as they'll go. Do that 2 more times. Inhale up, exhale through, coming down onto your left cheek, left shoulder. Go 1 more here. Coming back into all fours, round your spine, sit back in a child pose. Bring your left foot forward, coming into a split stance stretch. You're gonna rock back, sitting towards that right heel. Seeing if you can go towards straight with that left leg. It might not go all the way straight, it's totally fine. We're stretching that hammy, and then you're gonna come forward, dropping your hips, weight in that front left heel, maybe looking up and dropping your shoulders. And then sitting back, you're gonna flow through a few more of these, and then come up all the way, maybe go into a little bit more of an extension, holding. Sit back, hold, and see if you can wave that left foot from side to side, finding a deeper stretch through that hammy. Continue to just melt your seat towards that right heel. Keep that chest open. Come forward 1 more time, finding that stretch through your hip flexor. Slide that left foot back, slide your right leg through, drop those hips, and then shift your weight back, finding that hamstring stretch now on your right side. Inhale forward, maybe looking up. Exhale back, sitting your seat back as far as it'll go towards that heel. Flexing through that right foot. The more flex you have, the more stretch you'll feel in that hammy. This one you're gonna hold forward, maybe bring your hands to that supporting right knee. Look up, Melt those shoulders. And then final, sit back towards your heels, holding this side and waving that foot from side to side, finding as much of a hamstring stretch as you can in that right leg. Looking down, nose to knee. Shift forward. Now step that left leg back to right leg back to downward dog. Push back through your heels, dropping your heels towards the ground. Tilt your tail up. Find a full body stretch here. Bend one knee and then the other, shifting from side to side. It's okay to let your hips move here, coordinating with every knee bend. Let all the tension in your head, neck, and shoulders go. Keep tilting your tail up. Keep reaching those heels towards the ground. Flow through some body rolls. Articulate your feet and your spine simultaneously forward. And then reach those hips up, push those heels back. So you're gonna roll through your feet just as much as you're rolling through your spine. Keep those shoulders melting away from your ears. Can you find that straight line plank from your head to your heels every set? Core is initiating this movement by pulling up on your belly button. You're gonna rock forward just slightly, stepping one foot forward and coming up onto the ball of your foot on your supporting leg. It's like a little pulse, alternating from right to left. Continue to have your tail tilting and keep melting those heels towards the ground every time you step back. Lift that left leg up. Stack that left hip on top of your right by opening that left hip to the sky with a bent left knee. Drive that left leg forward and come into a runner's lunge, dropping those hips a little bit deeper stretch than earlier. And then now pike those hips up and go into a pyramid stretch, trying to stretch a little bit more through that right hamstring. Head goes towards knee. So you're dropping those hips, looking up, melting those shoulders, flowing from lunge stretch to pyramid stretch. Again, the goal is not to have that right leg all the way straight. The goal is just to find your optimal stretch for your right hamstring today. So whatever that looks like, don't be discouraged if you're not getting that leg completely straight. Repeat that on your right side. Stack that right hip over your left, bending that knee. Try to keep your shoulders squared to the ground. Sweep that right leg through. Come into runner's stretch. And then flow to pyramid by reaching through that right leg. Make sure your right heel is grounded. Try to open your chest every set a little bit more as you come forward, bending into that left knee. And then you're gonna slide that right leg back, find downward dog, reach opposite hand, opposite ankle. Coming into a plank, so think of those body rolls. You're repeating that roll through your spine, but you're gonna reach towards that opposite ankle and see if you can actually grab it with that right hand and then your left hand. So you're alternating, flowing through your feet, coming onto your tippy toes as you roll forward and reaching those heels back towards the ground as you lift up into your pike. Play with range of motion here. How much range of motion can you achieve? Come down onto your tummies, hands right underneath your shoulders. Try extension here by rising your chest. Initiate this with your core. See if you can pull the front of your hip bones up towards your belly button first, engaging your center. Continue to lift with your center, keeping the back of your neck long. Melt your shoulders. Avoid looking up so the back of your neck is wrinkle-free here. Lift in just until you feel a stretch. No crunching in your low back, please. The more core you have here, the better it'll be for your low back. Keep your hips and feet grounded on your mat. Reach back, catching that ankle in your right hand. Kick off your ankle into your hand to rise. You're gonna slide that left arm in towards you as you lift your chest, continuing to kick into that right hand. Will give you more of a lift here. If your mat isn't super slidey like mine, it might be hard to slide that left arm in, and that's totally fine. Do 3 on your other sides. You're catching that ankle with your left hand, sliding that right arm in. The more you rise, the more you kick off that hand, the more lift you're gonna get in your chest. Go one more here. Make sure your core is engaged as you're lifting. Reach the length of your arms and legs long. Sweep those arms back, catch both legs, kick off those hands, rise your chest, and then sweep those arms forward, legs out, find that length again. Flow through 5 of these. How big of a movement can you achieve with each one? Can you really kick into those hands to rise that chest, melt your shoulders? Think of this as a chest opener. I want you to feel that stretch across your sternum from shoulder to shoulder. Try to draw those shoulders away from your ears as you lift. Hold this 5th one. Breathe into your belly. You breathing into your tummy is gonna rock you forward and back. Every time you exhale, you should be rocking forward. Every time you inhale, you should be rocking back. Relax, come onto your elbows. Drive your elbows into the mat, pull them towards your navel. Hover your hips ever so slightly. You're gonna kick, point, flex with one foot, then the other. Try to kick, lengthening that leg away from you. Don't let your hips move. They should be slightly off your mat. Don't let them shift from side to side. Melt those shoulders. Keep lightly dragging your elbows in towards your belly button like you're trying to dig them into your mat. Lace your hands up your back, elbows relaxing. You're gonna kick 3 times. Reach your lace fingers back, look up, roll onto your left cheek, kick 3. Give me that extension, feet on the mat, and then switch your glance. You're gonna come onto your right cheek, and then your left cheek. You're kicking just 3 times, reaching back, fingers stay clasped. See how much range of motion and lift you can get in your chest. Lift with your center, keep the back of your neck long so you're looking at the ground. Push back into child pose. That should feel good, rounding your spine after all of that extension. Take some breaths into your low back, melt your seat, walk your fingertips away from you. Lace your fingers again behind you, lift those arms as much as they can. Articulate your spine up, lifting your chest at the top, drop your chin and round forward over your legs, sending your arms up to the sky. Flow through 5 of these. Getting as much of a stretch through your chest and shoulders as you can achieve. Keep your core engaged as you round over those legs. Come onto your seat. Reach your legs forward, feet hip-width apart. Imagine your spine is stacked up against a wall. You're gonna start with your waistline, draw it back, Roll away from your hips, reaching your sternum forward, belly button back. Finding maybe a little pulse at the bottom. Restack your spine. You're gonna inhale, start that curl down. Exhale at the bottom as you get that final stretch. Inhale, restack so you can flip your arm position, rotating your fingers up on those last two. Getting more of a stretch to your arms as you actively draw your waistline away. Slide forward. Make sure you have a lot of mat behind you. Catch your ankles on the outside of those legs. Balance. You're gonna rock back to your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, come right up to that balancing position. Notice my feet aren't touching down. Keep the shape of your knees and chest the same. Try to avoid having those legs pull away from your center. Activating more core here to get yourself back up. Make sure you're not holding your breath, adding your breath with every movement. Rock back, reaching that right leg to the sky. Hold it there, finding a hamstring stretch. Finding mobility in that ankle, point and flex, and then circle that foot out. If you're super tight, you can bend that left knee, use it as a kickstand like I'm doing. Pull that right knee to your chest. Give yourself a spine twist, gently guiding that knee across the midline of your body. Keep your right shoulder grounded. Send your breath into your low back. Maybe glance towards that right arm. Grab your knee with your right hand, walk that knee out to the side, finding an inner thigh stretch. Try to lengthen and ground that left hip down, left leg out. It is your stability here. Reach that right leg up towards the sky. Use it as a tree. You're gonna walk up that leg, grab towards your ankle with your left hand, twist and rotate, reaching that right arm open. Use your core to lift, shoulders stay level. How much reach can you get with that right arm? Can you point your right foot directly forward as you twist from your center? Try to keep your hips grounded. Do this through 2 more times. Low back is the last thing to leave your mat. Low back is the first thing to hit your mat on the way down. On 5, curl down, bend that knee to your chest, last little hip stretch on that side. Reach your right leg long to meet your left. Extend that left leg up, find that same ankle mobility as you point and flex through your left foot about 5 times, and then circle that ankle out in both directions, feeling your calf. Every time you breathe, find more of that hammy stretch. Left knee bends to your chest. Give yourself that same spine twist on this side, keeping your left shoulder grounded. You can always glance towards that left shoulder. Send your breath to your low back. Come back to center. Left hand gently guides that knee away from your midline, finding that inner thigh stretch on your left side. Anchor through your right hip, right leg. You have lots of energy in it. Sending that right heel long on your mat. Kick that left leg up again. Hamstring stretch. Walk towards that ankle, grabbing with your right hand. Opening up your chest, rotating away from your midline with that left arm into an upper body rotation, a twist if you will. Trying to rotate from your ribs. Can you keep your shoulders level as you walk up your leg, walk down your leg? Your low back is the last thing to come off your mat. So your waistline is hollow. It's the first thing to touch your mat on the way down. So you're articulating through your spine. Using that left leg as a tree as you walk up and walk down it. Hold both knees to your chest, give them a squeeze. Take that right ankle over your left knee for figure 4. You can thread both arms underneath that left leg, pulling towards you. Ground through your hips and then lengthen your tail. The more you pull that left leg in, the more you're lengthening your tailbone out on the mat. Breathe into those hip flexors, those psoas. Give yourself a deeper spine twist, letting your left toes touch the mat. You're gonna roll your knees to the left with that right ankle on top, maybe glancing towards that right arm. Come back to center, recross left over right. Ground those hips. If you can't keep your hips lengthened, maybe don't grab underneath that right leg. But if you can keep your hips elongated and tailbone on your mat, thread your arms underneath that right leg for a deeper stretch. Make sure your feet are flexed here. That'll protect your knees, knee joints. And again, go for that deeper spine twist, letting those legs roll to the right with that left ankle on top, looking to your left. Sending your breath to your low back. And stretch those legs out, maybe reach those arms long, find that full body stretch. Do some roll-ups here to a seated position. Gonna curl towards your toes and then articulate and roll your spine down. I'm showing these roll-ups today with straight legs. If you're having a hard time getting up and down, bend your knees, feet flat, and slide those heels away from you. They're your anchor if your knees are bent. Try to lift and round around your waistline as you pulse towards your toes, getting that stretch at the top twice. Time this with your breath. You're inhaling those arms up, chin nod. Use that exhale to reach towards your toes and pulse. Inhale, rise your spine and roll, articulating down. Do a few more roll-ups here, stretching everything out in your spine, either with straight legs or bent knees. If you are having a hard time getting up today because you're feeling tight in your low back, bend those knees. No shame in that. We're going for range of motion on these. Sit with your legs crossed, pull those abs in, melt your spine over your legs, finding that hip stretch. Take some breaths into your low back, recross your legs. Try that one more time. See how flattened spines you can lean over those legs. So starting out with that flat lower lumbar spine. Thank you for joining me today on that stretching journey. I hope your body feels great. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.